In a luxurious Lagos mansion, a proud young woman named Linda insults and slaps her quiet husband Tunde during a family dinner, unaware that Tunde secretly owns the entire company her father works for. The story explores pride, love, revenge, and karma, showing how Tunde's silence hides power, and Linda's arrogance leads to her downfall before redemption. In the heart of Lagos, where wealth sparkles like gold but respect is rare, lived a couple whose love story turned into a storm. Linda, a beautiful, elegant woman in her late 20s, came from a rich family that valued status above all. Her father, Chief Adeyemi, was a senior manager at Golden Holdings, one of the biggest firms in the city. What Linda didn't know was that her quiet, gentle husband, Tunde, was the true owner of that same company. Tunde had built his wealth quietly. He never showed off, never bragged, and often dressed in simple shirts while driving an old car, just to stay humble. But to Linda and her parents, he looked too ordinary. They constantly mocked him, thinking he was beneath them. For 3 years of marriage, Tunde tolerated the disrespect, hoping his wife would one day see his true worth. But that day never came. Until the family dinner. It was a grand evening. Crystal chandeliers glittered above the dining table, filled with roasted fish, fried rice, jollof, and fine wine. Linda's father sat at the head, her mother beside him, and Tunde sat quietly across from Linda. As conversation began, Chief Adeyemi laughed loudly. "Linda, my daughter, I told you not to marry that man who can't afford a proper car. Look at him now, still silent like a servant." Linda smirked, sipping her wine. "Daddy, sometimes I wonder if I made a mistake," she said. "He doesn't even take me to parties or buy me jewelry like other men." Tunde's hand clenched under the table, but he kept calm. When he tried to speak, Linda cut him off. "Don't interrupt when adults are talking." The room went quiet. Tunde looked at her, then calmly said, "Linda, you're my wife. But respect goes both ways." Her eyes flared. She stood up and slapped him across the face. The sound echoed through the hall. Her mother gasped. Her father laughed cruelly. Tunde simply wiped his face and stood up slowly. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for showing me your true heart." Then he left. 2 weeks later, rumors began to spread. Chief Adeyemi was summoned to the Golden Holdings head office for an emergency meeting. He arrived with Linda, both confused. In the grand boardroom sat Tunde, wearing a sharp navy blue suit, surrounded by bodyguards and senior executives. Chief Adeyemi froze. "You, Tunde?" Tunde turned slowly. "Yes, Chief Adeyemi. I'm the chairman of Golden Holdings. I bought this company 8 years ago." The silence was deadly. Linda's eyes widened, her lips trembled. Tunde continued, voice calm but cold. "When you mocked me, you mocked the very man who signed your paychecks. When you disrespected me, you insulted your own destiny." Tunde handed a file to the board secretary. "Effective immediately, Chief Adeyemi. You're relieved of your position." Linda broke down in tears. "Tunde, please." "I didn't know. I was proud, foolish." Tunde stood and looked at her one last time. "I wanted a wife, not a judge. I gave you love, but you gave me shame." He turned and walked away, leaving her crying on the marble floor. Months passed. Linda's father lost everything: cars, house, status. Her mother fell ill from the shock. And Linda, now living in a small rented apartment, finally understood humility. One rainy evening, she saw Tunde's car stop by the roadside. He got out, holding an umbrella. "Linda," he said softly, "you look tired. Get in. Let me drop you home." She hesitated. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "You still care?" He smiled faintly. "Love doesn't die. It just hides behind pain." They drove off in silence. A few days later, Tunde visited Linda's mother in the hospital. Before leaving, he placed an envelope beside her bed, full of money and property documents. "This is for your family. I'm not returning to the marriage, but I won't let you suffer." He turned to leave. Linda called after him, "Tunde, will you ever forgive me?" He stopped, looked at her one last time and said, "Forgiveness is easy, but trust? takes a lifetime." Then he walked out. Moral lesson: never look down on someone because of their appearance. Respect, not pride, builds a home. True wealth hides in humility.